I would say that resiliency comes from going through change. And, it's kind of like exercising that muscle. You start to, first it kind of hurts and you're like, I don't want to do this. This is lousy. But you probably, you got to go through it. If you want to get strong, you got to go through it.
Yeah.
And then you find that you actually are stronger than maybe you thought. And you also find that there are people who come with you along the way. It makes you feel stronger. And, so yeah, I often, it's not that I find it easy. It's not that I necessarily welcome change, but I know change comes all the time. We are changing right now. The moment's gone.
Welcome to Curious Goldfish, a podcast community where music and curiosity come together through interesting conversations with the music makers of our world. I'm your host, Jason English. You can find Curious Goldfish in all the major podcast and social media platforms. And of course, we have all of our content on our website, curiousgoldfish.com. Welcome back to the Curious Goldfish podcast. We always look beyond the tour dates, trying to figure out what truly makes the music makers tick. And today I want to introduce you to Lily Vakili. Her album, Oceans of Kansas, is fascinating and inspired by a visit to the Sternberg Museum during a trip out west. It's in the middle of the Great Plains in western Kansas. And 80 million years ago, Kansas was an ocean. This unexpected discovery became her core metaphor, unearthing things and rediscovering what you didn't know was there. This became especially relevant for her when her band recently dissolved. And change is never easy, but Lily treats it like a resilience muscle that must be exercised. Her most profound shift, though, was becoming a mother, and her son's extreme autism diagnosis was a shock to the system. And navigating that profoundly discouraging path showed her the strength of community. It also taught her an incredible concept from his school: assume competence. Start with the premise that a person is capable. And this belief gave her the confidence to stretch musically. It's a simple lesson: just be decent, because we're all one community. And we finished the interview like we always do, asking her the big question: what is she most curious about? Her answer takes us deep into the nature of existence itself. I'm so glad I had the chance to meet Lily and her bandmates. They took over our outdoor studio here at the Fishbowl with incredible grooves and sounds and a little bit of dancing. So be sure to check out her 2 performances at the end of this episode. Now, from Mount Clair, New Jersey, here's Lily Vakili. Let's dive in. Lily, appreciate your time. Thanks for swinging by.
Absolutely.
Here in Roswell, Georgia. So you're in the middle of a few tour days before the holidays.
Right, that's right.
So you're here in Georgia. You're swinging up the East Coast, ultimately to what, Philly? Or you have shows past Philly?
We're going to do Philly, D.C., and then take a little break for family and Thanksgiving, and then Massachusetts, the Button Ball Barn up in Massachusetts, and then we come back in kind of home area for end of year show at New Blue in New York City, which is going to be a lot of fun.
Okay. Well, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So you're promoting your latest album, which came out earlier this year, called Oceans of Kansas.
Yep.
Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
So no disrespect to the fine people of Hays, Kansas.
No.
But I've driven through there probably too many times to count.
Really?
Just because I grew up in Missouri.
Okay.
And I had grandparents in Colorado, and then I lived in Colorado for 20 years. And had family in Missouri, so I'd go.
So you know that
Interstate 70.
Yeah, okay.
And Hayes was always just a place to get gas for me. But so you're probably the first person that I've ever met, for sure, that was inspired by a visit to that
Hays, Kansas,
to that fine city and the museum there of natural history.
Yeah, the Sternberg Museum of Natural History. I did not know it was there, and but for being on tour, I would not have come across it. And if I hadn't have come across it, I wouldn't have gone in there, with one of my brothers who was traveling with me. He's a submariner, just by chance.
Oh, my gosh.
And also, totally fascinated by sea life, et cetera, et cetera. Well, Oceans of Kansas, all right, Sternberg Museum. 80 million years ago, Kansas was an ocean, and that just blew my mind. I
Right.
mean, the fossils there are just extraordinary and beautiful and frightening and beyond imagination. And it just, it sparked my imagination. I was like, this is so poetic.
Yeah.
The unearthing, the fact that there was an ocean in a place where there are now these beautiful plains. And it just meant a lot to me in terms of how I think about, kind of going through my own life and unearthing things, rediscovering things, finding things I didn't even know were there. And it seemed like the right title for this album.
Okay.
Songs.
Very interesting. That's awesome. So it's a metaphor
Yeah.
for your own journey. I guess how relevant is it to the fact that you're part of the band, Vakili band for so long, and this is a solo project with some new musicians. I guess how much of that did play into that metaphor? A little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think when Vakili band, kind of disbanded bit by bit, I was so reluctant to let it go. It was not easy. And it was hard. It was, and I think when you go through that change like that, it's worth looking back inside and reassessing what you're doing, why you're doing it, and whether you want to keep going and how. So I didn't expect to make those reassessments, but I don't think many of us get to choose when these major things happen.
Yeah.
They often just happen to us.
Yeah.
And then you have to figure out a pathway forward. So luckily enough, at that time I was offered this tour solo, as opening performer for another act who was coming up the West Coast, John Douglas, an amazing artist from the UK. And that really, it just opened a bunch of portals, I would say.
Okay.
And this is the result.
Yeah. How do you typically handle change? Is that easy for you, or?
Yeah.
It is. Yeah.
I mean, I would say I would say that resiliency comes from going through change.
Mm-hmm.
And, it's kind of like exercising that muscle. You start to, first it kind of hurts and you're like, I don't want to do this. This is lousy. But you probably, you got to go through it. If you want to get strong, you got to go through it.
Yeah.
And then you find that you actually are stronger than maybe you thought. And you also find that there are people who come with you along the way. It makes you feel stronger. And, so yeah, I often, it's not that I find it easy. It's not that I necessarily welcome change, but I know change comes all the time. We are changing right now. The moment's gone.
Right. Right.
So it's not about a willingness or an ease with change. It's that change is simply life. And
Okay. So the change that was a little bit unexpected with the band, I guess, what's been the biggest change for you personally, do you think? Was it becoming a mother? Was it, if you look back, like what was the kind of the biggest?
That's a big question,
That's a
Jason.
very big question. That's what we do here.
Okay, I'm gonna get myself ready. I would say they're probably, there's so many. But without a doubt, having a son with a significant medical illness issue, and who, his diagnosis is autism, but that means a lot of different things to a lot of different people. But a person who requires significant care, let's put it that way.
Sure.
As my first child was, kind of a shock to the system that sometimes my husband and I joke about in kind of a morbid way, but, we say, it took about 10 years to get over,
Wow, yeah.
To get over the shock.
Yeah.
No, in those 10 years, you keep going, you keep doing things, but only with time. And of course, utterly in love with the child.
Sure.
And the young man he has become, right? Utterly in love. but nonetheless shocked and going through a system of adjustment. And that takes time. Everything takes time. There's just, we all know that.
Yeah.
No matter how you want to, you simply have to go through it. It's like childbirth. There's only one way.
Oh man, yeah,
You have to go through it.
yeah,
And then, and then there's, beautiful life that comes from that. But there's no cutting it short. Mm-mm.
well,
Nope.
change for any parent, firstborn. I mean, that's something, but to have it be amplified, the challenges be amplified by the medical condition. I mean, I can't imagine just the amount of stress, and you're kind of wondering, okay, this is hard enough. Like now it's even harder. I guess what did you and your husband agree to, or was it just like day by day you're kind of figuring it out in terms of how to give your son the best support and not get discouraged? 'Cause that's so difficult.
Well, of course you do get discouraged.
Yeah,
It is a profoundly discouraging situation to be in.
yeah,
However, if you spend any time in neonatal units, or if you spend any time in the ICU, or you spend any time in a long-term care facility, you know that these are things that many, many people go through. You're never alone. And that is a balm.
yeah,
And many people have been remarkably kind to my son, to my family, and have taught me ways to be kind to others similarly situated.
yeah,
Have a great support group of moms who we text each other all the time
yeah,
and support each other. We come from very different, but what unites us is a love of our children and a belief that they can be supported and that it is a good thing for society overall
yeah,
to exhibit generosity and care and kindness and compassion. And that, that's the way, and, not a society that kind of rejects or excludes. And
sure,
so,
Yeah.
you find your way. You do find your way.
yeah. I mean, that's great inspiration, because we, as a dad, my kids are in their 20s now, but I look back and you kind of go, okay, that was very stressful. That was kind of stressful. And in the moment, it's hard to take a step back because you're just trying to get through it.
You're just trying to get through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I guess in your situation, I know there's a lot of talk, probably more than ever, nationally around the subject of autism, right? And what causes it, and all the things around it. Like, as a mom who has firsthand experience, and I know you said there's variations of it. Like, what do you try to absorb all the talk? Is it mostly kind of BS? What's being out there? Or like, what's your advice to people that may have an autistic child,
Yeah.
like you, because there's more attention to it now than ever.
Yeah, I mean, I think, look, the child has to be, it's the child-centered focus. So, and you got to strip away all the politics and nonsense. Get that out of the way.
Right.
It's not going to do you any good, and it's not going to do your child any good. It's not going to do your community any good.
Right.
Talk to people who know what they're talking about, to professionals. I am so amazed by the doctors, the nurses, the people in the hospitals that we dealt with. Their first point of reference is, what is best for this child? How can I help this child? And, you do have to educate yourself and talk to other parents. Other parents are a great resource. But I would stay away from the doom scrolling for sure. Stay away from a lot of the nonsense that's out there
Yeah.
on social media and such like that. That's often, it may be great for entertainment, but it's not exactly the best place to seek medical advice
It's not that helpful, yeah.
or guidance. And I think there are a lot of resources now.
Yeah.
And I think there's an understanding, as with many people who live with disabilities, that they are phenomenally capable in so many ways. And no matter what, they are a fellow human being. who we owe an obligation to, and who, you know, the tide could turn like that in a second. And you're at the mercy and the grace of somebody else. Yeah. And, you know, just having navigated a little bit of that in my life and seeing how extraordinarily kind people can be and capable, it gives me a lot of hope.
That's great.
It gives me a hope for my son and, you know, for other kids like him.
Well, I've read too that, so I've always heard about, you know, the notion of like assume positive intent with people.
That's a good
before you make judgment. But you've got something which I love, which I think came from the school.
Yes.
Of your son, right? Where you talk about assumed competence.
Yes. Yeah, I love that.
I love that. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I love that. So that the background obviously is related to your son. Like, how's that played out, just with him and how you interact with people doing music and stuff? Yeah.
So I'll tell the story quickly. I just learned such a lesson when I took my son to the school, and it's called Celebrate the Children in New Jersey. And we went in, this was, you know, we'd been to many schools, let's put it that way. And, you know, I took him in to be introduced to the staff and the admin and all that. And, you know, the admin person and whoever greeter was coming out towards us. And my son and I are sitting in the little entry area, and they bypassed me. And they walked up to my son and said, "Hi, my son," you know, my son's name. You know, this must be your mom. Welcome to our school. And if you don't mind, we'd like to talk to your mom a little bit. Now, that might not sound like anything, but I want to tell you something. It was the first time ever someone had greeted my nonverbal son, addressed him directly before me. Not that people have bad intent necessarily, but generally when they're dealing with a non-speaking person, or they'll speak to the person they assume is speaking and kind of ignore the other person, which if you imagine yourself as the non-speaking person, that's horrible. So that, to me, I was stunned. I'd never seen that. And I asked them about it later. I said, "What was that about? That's the first time." And that's when they told me. Yeah. We assume competence. We start from the premise that the person is capable. And then we work from there. And that was instructive to me. Yeah. I was like, okay. You know, and all of these things have given me a lot of resources for being a little more nervy in my music, you know, like stretching it out and just being willing to go places vocally or stylistically from a genre standpoint that I might not have otherwise. Because, you know, when you face up against certain things or deal with certain things that are difficult, and when you deal with things that are just embarrassing, it's not a problem.
Sure.
It's like, you know, so it might not be so well received.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
Yeah, right.
You know.
Well, because I mean, let's just be honest, there's a lot of incompetent people in the world doing different things. So it's actually a good reminder that you never know, right? And you
Give it a try.
You should assume.
Give it a try. Yeah. I have been more often than not pleasantly surprised. Yeah. And then I have to ask myself, okay, what kind of negative, nasty attitude was I bringing before? Yeah. That just made that person think, I'm not even going to try. Yeah. Why bother with this person? Yeah. I'll just be what they expect I am. It really made me think about that. Why can't I just go a little extra mile? Yeah.
That's a good reminder. Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway.
Well, cool. Well, thanks for sharing that story. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So you've talked a lot in other interviews about your sort of diverse background, right? Mm-hmm. Choreography, stage theater, other things, and law. But like your focus and your interest on human rights was interesting to me. I guess, was there a specific area of human rights that you dug into more than others, or was it just a general interest?
I think it came in part from hearing experiences that my parents went through, that my father went through. He traveled a great deal. He was a research scientist, plant pathologist, so he was out in the field a lot and traveled all over Southeast Asia, parts of Africa, Central and South America, the United States, and he saw a lot. And of course, he saw a lot of, he worked with various groups of subsistence farmers, for example,
Oh, wow.
And we would hear these things at the dinner table. And it really, and my mother's, she was a reference librarian and just the most fair, compassionate human being I've ever known. And so, and she's rearing 6 kids at a tiny dinner table. I'm just pointing that out. And, and teaching us how to be fair, compassionate, and, and what does it mean to be a good person in the world? And when you hear the examples that your parents give you, offer you up, I don't know, it just, of course, when I say human rights, I guess I didn't have the formal title until I was in law school.
Okay.
And then I just, I was doing work on a journal that would gather information about lawyers in various countries working to represent people who, whether it was a, kind of a civil rights kind of issue, is this freedom of speech issue, whether it was false, incarceration issues.
Okay.
And, and I still gravitate towards people who do that. It's so funny. Even now,
That's
I've got
awesome.
friends who, very much are in that world. And I so respect what they do. It's very hard. And it's very meaningful stuff, and it lifts everybody up in my view. So, I'm by no means, hasn't been my focus as a profession.
Right.
But it has been one that I'm keenly interested in and have tried to learn more about. And to me, when you say human rights, let's just talk like being decent.
Yeah, just
it's
decent,
just being
yeah.
decent. I mean, how about
Yeah.
like decent rights?
Yeah, yeah.
Can we just not be jerks?
Yeah.
And I know that sounds simplistic, and it is,
Yeah.
but in many other ways, it really is about the basics, of, can people have a decent job, a decent roof over their heads? Can their kids go to school? Do they have decent health care? I mean, these are things that are like, well, why is it valuable? It's valuable because we are all one community,
Yeah.
and you can pretend we're not.
Yeah.
But,
Well, I think your background, because you were born in Honduras,
Yeah.
right? And then you've traveled obviously a fair bit, but I think like seeing other cultures, seeing other societies, seeing other people, it reminds you that we are one person, or not one person, but one community.
yeah.
And I think people that maybe don't have that ability to travel sometimes build up walls or perceptions where they want to just kind of keep things sort of in what's comfortable, So I think it's like you're a good reminder of like the importance of seeing, experiencing so many different cultures,
Well, I think sometimes, it's funny. I mean, anybody gets it. Like if as a kid they went to a new school,
Yeah.
right? It's kind of, there's a little bit of discomfort and it's not always a pleasant feeling, or, to be the outsider.
Yeah.
But I think seeking commonality is really, and I sometimes I think, do I say that just because I'm a mother and
Yeah.
and because I feel so intensely about the need to care, for that, when you care for someone, that it truly does open up a world of possibility. That this is the great gift that we have, is that we can be kind to one another.
Yeah.
It is a great, valuable, wealthy gift. It's amazing. And it's sometimes the hardest thing for people to do.
Yeah.
Instead, they, buy the claptrap nonsense of hatred and division.
Yeah.
And, no. I just don't want to get on that boat.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's good. And music's an important part of that
Yeah.
sort of message, right?
It's universal,
Yeah,
right? I
yeah,
mean,
yeah.
it truly is universal. No matter where you go in the world, you're going to
Yeah.
hear. You're
Yeah.
going to hear music.
Yeah. Yeah.
And, to me, there's a reason for it. That's one of the commonalities, one of the reasons for doing this. And it allows you to connect with people, without, necessarily having a discussion.
Yeah,
You know
right.
what I mean? Because sometimes I'm not great about the discussion
Yeah.
part, but I'm better at maybe sharing this creative output.
Mhm.
And so you do what you can do,
Yeah. Well, so on the heels of Oceans of Kansas, I guess, where do you think you are as an artist today, and where do you want to be?
I love being on the road and I love playing live.
Okay.
I also love collaborating with other artists, musicians. I want to continue storytelling.
Okay.
I would like to be able to, travel the world doing this. But I will also tell you that I continue to be deeply inspired by traveling around these United States. I truly do. I wouldn't have written this album and done it the way I did if it weren't for this I just felt this great love crossing the country.
Awesome.
And so I want to continue to explore that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's good. What are some of the, like, if you look back at the album, what are one or two songs that stick out to you that it's like, okay, this is the best representation of kind of my worldview now, or the message I want to send out?
Golly.
And hopefully you'll play one or two of them too.
All right. Well, look, we're having a lot of serious talk here, Jason. I thought this was going to be all lightness and,
That's boring.
Sweetness and light.
That's
All
boring.
right. So, Okoboji and Tannersville are kind of these, bookends, right?
Okay.
They are the bookends
Yeah.
it opens with Okoboji, and that's like this sweet party tune, just this relaxed, the way we can be so content and happy together, just whatever, partying by the lake,
Okay.
having a view, dancing,
That
you're with
sounds
your
good.
honey. Those are great, sweet times. And so that's one. And then Tannersville is kind of like it's a kind of, a little bit of, kind of that battle cry of like, I'm not giving up. It's that wanting to be, when you're really young and you've got these intense dreams and energy and focus and all this stuff.
Right.
And I wanted to kind of capture that and kind of honor that, and so those are two different, spectrums,
Okay.
right? It's not like there's some message, I want to save the world or anything like that. These are just a series of stories that one person has put together and then created this sonic story with these other wonderful musicians and with Reed Torshey, and, so it's a collaborative thing.
Yeah.
It's never, these are my songs, but what it ends up here is truly a collaborative effort,
You've referred to them though as orphan songs, right?
Yeah.
So like they've kind of just been kind of left over from,
I
some of the other projects.
I couldn't find a place for them in some of my albums, and I think part of the reason was that, I was trying to create a certain sound for Vakili Band, and it didn't. And some of these songs I just couldn't quite, I couldn't find where they fit. But I wanted to tell these stories, and so, as I say, one door closes, the other door opens. Sometimes actually no doors open for a long time, and then you have to dig a hole to get out.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's another story. But in this case, one door closed and another one opened. And the opening was, I can do these songs now.
Nice.
Like, like what do I have to lose at this point? I spent all this time building this band, and now that's not a thing. And now what do I do? Oh, okay, back to first principles.
Right.
And so I went back and said, okay, hey, songs, come out, wherever you are. We're going to do something.
I mean, how many orphan songs do you think you have?
Oh, I got a bunch more.
Yeah, you have a bunch more.
Much
probably.
more in the band back there.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
I got a lot of songs.
Yeah.
And it's always about like, okay, everybody come out. And I want to see what we're going to do. Okay, you guys go. It's like picking teams.
Yeah.
Setting up teams. This ended up being an amazing transition and different path. I did not expect.
Yeah.
But I have to say, these songs, I feel like, I don't know, they seem to be resonating, getting some nice airplay, and that's great.
That's great.
We're going to keep playing them out and see what happens.
That's great. Well, one last question. I ask everybody this. So again, as a mother, wife, artist, and everything else that you do, I guess at this point in your life, what are you most curious about?
That's a big one.
No pressure.
What am I most curious about?
We're on the Curious Goldfish podcast, so you know.
Oh, what am I most curious about?
It doesn't have to be music related. It could be about anything.
I mean, I'm curious about existence, period. The nature of existence and consciousness.
Okay, well, that's deep. Yeah.
I mean, what else are we, like, anybody got a, I'm sorry, but I think no matter what, I don't think there's a neat package.
Yeah.
And I think that's part of the wonderful mystery. And I remain deeply curious about how to connect and engage with other people. I think that that's an unending exercise, one that constantly reinstills humility. You know, but I don't want to close myself off. So I think that curiosity is part of the thing that keeps you going.
Yeah.
Curiosity is good.
Well, I think you have to have a little bit of humility to be aware that the importance of curiosity. Otherwise, you think you know everything, right?
No, I mean, it's it's really quite the opposite
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
Now I start from the position of I probably don't know anything about that. You know,
Even with age, even with experience.
yeah,
right?
all the
Like,
more so.
Yeah, all the more so.
You
Yeah.
know, because you just know the permutations and the complexity and the
Yeah.
the many colors that go into a particular scenario. You know,
Yeah.
you hear it when somebody who really doesn't know what they're talking about says something that they think they know something about, and you realize what you're trying to do is very kind of softly,
Right.
let them know that there's some other facets that they should consider, but on the other hand, maybe they'll be lucky and life will teach them this great lesson.
Goes back to competence, actually. It's great. Yeah. All right. Well, thanks for being here, Lily. Here's your album, by the way, right?
That's right, the album.
Great cover, Oceans of Kansas.
Yes, and
It's amazing.
thank you so much.
What's the artwork inspired by?
So this is photography by Laura Callahan, who I've done a number of pieces with, and she's just this amazing photographer in New York. And there's a great story behind this one because one of my daughters helped set up the thing. She came with me to the shoot, and I'm not going to tell you the whole story behind it because I want to keep the mystery.
Okay, yeah,
right?
that's good.
But let me just say it's a very experimental process getting to an image like this.
Yeah.
And of course, the idea was, it's Oceans of Kansas, so we come up or we go down in the water, and so this is me underwater.
Interesting.
Yeah.
All right.
That's what's
good.
going on.
Looks good.
So,
well, congrats on that.
Thank you. I'm going to sign this, remember?
Well, I love that. Yeah, I love that.
That's
Thank
right.
you. All right. Let's do it right now.
Here we go. Here we go. Woo, let's see.
Perfect. There you go. Stay curious. All right. Thank you, Lily. So nice of you. And congrats on this, and congrats on all the shows and everything. And
Thank you.
hope to see you down the road.
Thank you so much. I hope to see you at a gig.
Yes, it'd be great. Would you mind playing a couple songs for us?
We will play.
All
Yeah.
right.
With the guys.
Thank you for
All right.
All right. Cheers.
I'm Lily Vakili, and I'm here with Eric Burns on guitar, Drew Hart on bass, and Joe Yount on drums. And we're about to play Okoboji. Let's go down to Okoboji. In the reeds and the rushes we'll play, sipping love from a jug. Okay, let's go down to Okoboji. Let's go down to Okoboji. In the reeds and the rushes we'll play, sipping love from a jug. Okay. Floating, splashing, making a scene, watching lovers stealing some kissing, holding on to each other, spinning, happy just like this. Yeah. Come closer to me. Yeah. Just like this. Come closer to me. Just like this. Oh, oh, yeah. Yeah. Sun is setting like a bouncing ball, and we're swaying around the fire and all, back and forth and round and round, round and round and round, wild and free, just like Okoboji. Let's go down to Okoboji. Let's go down to Okoboji. Let's go down Okoboji. Lily Vakili here, back with Eric Burns, Drew Hart, and Joe Yount. And we're going to sing, I'm going to sing, and they're going to play April Fools. Dear, can it be that one more year has come and gone? We're still here, still hanging on. Like baby birds, like budding flowers, anything that doesn't know the way things end, and so it goes. We're April Fools, we're April Fools. Joke's on us, we don't care. Being in love is all that matters in the end. I suppose it's true that in this world we're meant to lose every precious thing, and so we do, and so we do. that you and I, we just hold on, we just hold on and on and on and on and on and on. So let's be fools, my April flower. Let's be fools, full of desire. You are my